Come, tell
We'll
them
be
we
happy to
sent
have
you.
you.
And yeah, and I want to see more success stories in the future, because I know that this is going to be a common thing in 5 years, I think, on mobile.
Let's do it fast. Okay, Derric, thank you so much for having me. And guys, have a great event. I'll keep hearing you from the background.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
All right. With that, we think about the mobile search experience and who's going to drive traffic to that site. We have to be thinking about the influencers we're going to be working with. So I brought in the expert on both influencer marketing and working, especially on the influencer side, but of course on understanding how this is going to relate to our bottom line as merchants. Sarah, how's it going?
Hello, Derric. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. Great to have you back. We covered a lot in our last session. We'll overlap that a little, but we'll go in a unique direction as well with this session. Before we begin, give everyone a little bit of background of you and what you've been up to for the last few years.
Yeah, so I started my career in fashion PR. Did that for about 10 years. Started a business in the very early days of influencer marketing called Simply, and it was the first fashion and beauty conference of its time. We did it all over the world. We had thousands of attendees and really wanted to create and bridge that gap between influencers and stylists and all of these really cool creatives with people that wanted their job but couldn't really go to college for it. And you kind of had to know someone to get in the industry. So that was the company I created, which was then acquired by Socialite, which is where I'm at now. I'm the SVP at Socialite. And at Socialite, we manage about 150 influencers ranging from lifestyle all the way up to celebrity level. I specifically oversee more of the celebrity level talent. And then we have an influencer marketing agency side called Lighthouse. Yeah. So all things influencer is my day in and day out.
And you're focused more on working with the influencers themselves on the programs, right?
Yes. So I oversee a lot of our celebrity level influencers. So managing their incoming opportunities, their outbound, pitching outbound opportunities, and then managing.
So are you seeing the merchant requests come in? And so you're seeing the successes and failures of somebody pitching a merchant. This just happened today. Somebody asked me for an intro to an influencer, but they didn't have any context. And right away they were like, I don't want to talk to that. Why would I want to talk to that person? So it's all about the context. So let's start with the biggest mistakes that people make when reaching out to influencers, and then we'll work our way towards how to do it right.
Yeah. And this is coming from someone who literally gets hundreds of emails a day because we have a large roster of a number of talent that are, getting a lot of inquiries. So Number one, I would say be upfront. Say exactly what you want, put it all in the email. The biggest fail that I see is not being upfront saying, look, we don't have a budget, or this is an affiliate program, and trying to kind of get around that piece of it and get me on a phone call and waste 30 minutes of my time when at the end of the call, I'm like, she would never do an affiliate program. She has to be paid up front. If you would have just said that in an email, I wouldn't be annoyed. So just be upfront. If you don't have a budget, just say that. And maybe there is a talent that could be a fit for that program. But I would say be upfront. Everyone that you're emailing is very busy and you don't want to waste someone's time. Let them know if it's paid or unpaid, and share the deliverables, what you're looking for. So I would say in that initial email or phone call, just kind of lay it out on the table.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's kind of like owning your position as a brand. So give me an example of a pitch you got today that was the opposite of the worst pitch, the one that you go straight into the spam folder, or the trash, or the block, or whatever.
Well, the worst is all of the spam accounts that are coming out right now. I'm getting so many of them, and we have all of these spam checkers that we use because it's not even like a real company. So get rid of all of those. Okay. But an actual real company that actually came to me, I'll use the call I got on yesterday, and it was, they've been following up. Let's set a call. Let's do this and sign an NDA. So I signed an NDA.
Oh yeah, that's almost never. It's a bad sign, right? If you have to sign the
Yeah.
NDA before going into the call.
Zero information given. I'm on the call. We're giving backgrounds. We're talking about everything. And then at the end, they're like, well, we don't have a budget. And I was like, why wouldn't you tell me this a month ago when we were trying to set up the call? So there's a lot of those.
Was that like an equity? Like they wanted to give equity or something like that? Because I know that happens to influencers as well, right?
They were offering to create their own product line for the talent, but
oh yeah, at a zero budget.
Yeah, with no guarantee, which I'm sure some people would want, but at a celebrity level where they're getting paid a lot of money for the similar opportunities.
Yeah, you need at least a guaranteed like revenue. So we're going to sell 100,000 in product and you'll get 10,000 of that or whatever, something like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So there's some sort of guarantee if they're promoting your product and your brand and all of those sort of things. Another no-no I would say when reaching out to an influencer is going around their management and their team.
Okay.
That's, it's always going to end up back to that manager and agent and just kind of put a sour taste in their mouth if you're trying to go around them. So I would say that. And then a third would be to do your research before. I've gotten so many emails where they spell the person's name wrong. They put the wrong name in it. They, ask if their, child can promote something when they don't even have a kid. So it's like, do a little bit of due diligence before you reach out and, provide anything.
So don't just scrape a list off of somewhere and then send the same email to 400 people. That's what gets you a 0% response rate. Whereas researching a list of 400 by hand and then going to the 20 that make the most sense and asking them specific questions about themselves, their brand. I think especially, tell me if this works. I saw that your client recently worked with this brand. They're like a complementary product, a related product. We worked with them in the past. Does this help make the connection?
Absolutely. Anything that I could tell that someone actually did the research and they spent time, more than 5 seconds, actually putting some thought into the email, I will 100% respond and get back to them and really give them more attention than the other emails.
That's awesome. So this is big takeaways for everyone listening when they're thinking about reaching out and talking to influencers. So let's take a step back now and ask the question, when as a merchant should I be thinking about talking with an influencer? I'm sure your cast, as they're on the celebrity side, they're probably a bit more expensive, typically going to be part of larger campaigns and they're not just the whole budget on them kind of thing, right? So when do we start working with, let's say, your level specifically to Socialite and Lighthouse, your level of influencer? Like how much revenue should I have as a brand? Just like as an example.
I mean, it really depends on how you divvy up your marketing budget. If it's all going to influencers, it could be a very different number than, if it's allocated in a number of different channels. I mean, you can start working with influencers on an affiliate basis or micro basis at any size.
Even celebrities.
Many celebrities won't do affiliate. Once you get to celebrity level, I mean, a lot of celebrities aren't going to work with a small business that they haven't heard of. They're going to want the big, Fortune 500s or, something that's cool and in the industry and that's well known. I don't know an exact dollar amount, but I think it's, you have to be to a place where if you're spending $500,000 to $100,000, it's not going to put your business out of, underwater.
And is that because it's risky to go with influencers?
Sometimes, I mean, some perform, some don't. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Some perform really well in terms of sales. We have a few of them, which are incredible, but then some you work with for brand awareness. Some you work with just for the clout. They sell a little bit, but it's really to get that beautiful content and have that celebrity talking about your item. So it kind of depends. There's never, hey, I'm going to pay you this much and I'm going to guarantee this much in return. That's, if someone tells you that, it's impossible.
Yeah, I think that's that's a very good point, because anyone saying that they're going to guarantee this many clicks or views or impressions is likely on the train of, like, I don't know, buying fake views or something like that. Like,
Right.
you opened up a few follow-up questions. So, as a merchant, how do I mitigate risk when working with influencers? You mentioned diversification, but I'm sure there's some other qualification standpoints or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a few things I would highly suggest asking for when you are reaching out to an influencer is asking for screen grabs and analytics from their
Yeah.
insights page. So, looking at the last 30 days of how many swipe ups are they getting on their Instagram story? How many views are they getting on their Instagram story? That's not something you can buy or use bots for. You can't really lie about that. So, that's something.
Can we get, like, I don't know if this is allowed. Can I get like a previous campaign that they did? Can I say, how did that last campaign do with this other brand?
I've never seen that. I mean, you can
There
ask and see. Typically,
might be
what we
NDAs or something.
yeah, typically what we get is like last 14 days of screen grabs of your
Yeah.
swipe ups, your story views, all of your analytics. Some even ask for conversion. So if you're on share a sale, reward style, shop style, can we see how much you convert in the beauty category, or whichever category you're looking for? If they are a strong converter, you have no problem sharing that information. If they don't want to share that with you, that might be a red flag, that they aren't a strong sales converter if that is your goal. So those are things I would definitely ask for. If your brand is US only, look at their US
Yes.
following, look at their
Male, female.
yes, male, female, their age bracket. So look at all of those analytics and analyze them. And if you are an international company, it doesn't matter as much. But if you're only shipping in the US and they only have a 20% US audience,
Yeah.
that's something
You
you
have to pay for the full amount, even though you only get 20% of the value. So it becomes a problem.
exactly. So those are really important. And I think that's something that's become really common. It's a really common question that people ask, and we always provide that.
So as the agent for the influencer, you're working with a merchant. You need to protect the influencer. Help me. I want to know where you stand on the spectrum of, like, are you the used car salesman for the influencer? Like, I'm just going to sell the merchant whatever I can get money out of them for, as long as it's healthy for the influencer, you're protecting the influencer. Or is it like, we always take the merchant's best interest? We want to find them the right influencer. We want to do that. And I know that I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here, but, like, seriously, like, everyone wants to make money. I know that there's some do-gooding parts, like, you're not the agency for the merchant, except, well, Lighthouse might be, I suppose.
Right.
But you're managing the influencer. So when maybe an outside agency comes in to hire, how do you, how fair and transparent is the process? You know what I'm getting at? Like,
Totally. Yes. And I am all about being fair. And, that's a conversation that I have with the talent. And when we're putting their pricing together, I don't want to put pricing together where the talent is not going to be rebooked by that brand.
Gotcha.
All of our talent, I hope, performs, and then they come back. The goal is to have a 6-12 month campaign. You don't want to have all of these one-off opportunities that then, just fall off, and then it's a small industry. They get a bad name and they're too expensive. I'm never going to book them again. We price them market value. And, the people that are priced higher, there's a reason. So for me, yes, I'm on the talent side. I'm looking at their best interest. But at the end of the day, we want a long-term partnership with that brand. If they don't perform, most of our talent will do a make good, and they'll make sure that that the client is happy, because it's a relationship. You don't want that one-way street, and you want to have that long-term longevity. That being said, Lighthouse, like you mentioned, is on the brand side. So they want to make sure the brand is happy. So if it's, that sort of situation, then I'll usually pass it off to Lighthouse, and they can make sure that, the cast is, the best option for that brand. But I'm usually honest. When brands come to me, they're like, who's your top converters? I'll tell them who it is. I'll tell them, this person's great because of X, Y, and Z. She doesn't convert as well, but here's why she could be good, because you can get press and she's very press worthy. And, here's the other reasons why you might want to book that talent. So I don't want to lie. I want to be honest, and I want the price to reflect what the brand is paying for.
You said they're all priced at market value. So what is market value for 1,000 impressions from an influencer or something like, how do you price them?
Well, we look at the story views. We look at all of their analytics and shop style, reward style. How much are they actually selling? And we go to market with it. And if no one is booking that person, you get to that sweet spot where it's like, okay, we got to this rate and we're getting a lot of bookings. And then it's kind of a supply and demand sort of thing.
So if you got too many bookings, price goes up.
Yeah. Yeah. And we do have a limited amount of supply for some of our talent. So like, especially Q4, rates have gone up because it's holiday season, it's a premium. So we just kind of ebb and flow based on supply and demand and how much, availability there is.
So that's an interesting kind of topic, talking about price going up for Q4. Ad prices go up for Q4 as well. Merchants make a lot of their money in November, but maybe it's actually the influencers and the Facebook ads that are making more of the money than some of these merchants. So if I was starting an influencer program, imagine you wouldn't say start on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We're getting close already. Should we therefore start in Q1 or Q2, or does it just not necessarily matter as long as we're getting the ball rolling and testing things?
I think testing is great all year, but Q4 starting in October, like right now, we are so busy with everyone trying to plan out their holiday programming. So I think now is the time to either, start looking and booking your talent, because a lot of our influencers, their content is booked up for the next 2 months. So you have to get it now. You can't kind of wing it last minute. Like, oh, let me put some money towards this Black Friday campaign. They're booked. So brands are getting really ahead of the calendar year. And we've had bookings into next year already. So it's time if you're thinking about holiday.
Yeah, that's that, like, yeah, it's already time, probably even last month, or maybe even earlier. Like, I like the idea of testing in Q1, Q2 on influencers, and then the ones that work, like about this time, saying, here's more money for you, let's do this again for Black Friday.
Yeah.
I think that could be big. Now, we had on earlier today a brand called Bump and Blends that sells frozen smoothie mixes online.
Yeah.
They made a lot of they might have even worked with you or some of your influencers.
I've heard of them, yes.
They made a lot of success in gifting their product to celebrities and influencers. What do you think when you get a package from a merchant? Like, are you getting cold, like, apparel, like, like cold outreach, not even having talked to you or said, can I send this to you? And how often is this work, and how, like, is it a good idea, is what I'm trying to say as a merchant? Should I just be sending this in the mail to somebody?
Well, yes and no. So as a small business, absolutely, this is a great free way to market your business, especially to smaller influencers. Once you get to celebrity level and the macro level influencers, a lot of them decline gifts just because they get so much and it's overwhelming, and then they feel the pressure, they have to post about it, and it's easier to just push it into a paid campaign. That being said, the smaller influencers, you get a pretty high hit rate, especially if it's a really beautiful package and, a great product. You'll usually get a lot of organic content.
Perfect.
That being said, make sure that you email or confirm that you will be sending it. They do not like getting random
just complete
packages to their home. That's a little scary. People just sending you things, knowing where you live. So I would definitely confirm the address first before you're sending it. Make sure you send all the press materials, all of the information in that email, and they confirm yes or no if they would like to receive it. But absolutely, I think it's a great way to free market your brand.
So we talked earlier about the email format and how to personalize, make sure that they're the right fit. We've got that short list, and then we send the email saying, "Hey, I'd love to send you some free product." Do you typically find people saying no pressure on posting, or I'd appreciate a post, or I'd love to send this to you in exchange for a post? Like,
Okay, but in exchange for the post, I always say no, because if you
have to
want to
test
post,
it.
yes, guarantee, then everyone's going to say no to you. They don't want to have to guarantee that
Okay.
they're going to post about it for a free product. I would say if you choose, or if you like the product, if you feel inclined, here's our social. Would love for you to post if you like it, but no pressure. Just give them the
Perfect.
information. If they like it, make sure you put a note in the package as well. They're never going to find that email if they get the package a week later. Put a note in there with your social handles. 9 times out of 10, they'll tag you, which is great. And then that could lead to a potential paid opportunity. A lot of brands test that way. And once there is an organic post, they know the client or the talent loves the product. Then they approach them with a paid opportunity because they've seen a spike in sales or traffic.
I like it a lot. All right. You talked earlier about some influencers not performing as expected, and they're being a little like maybe the video didn't go viral enough or something, like it was too salesy, or maybe it wasn't salesy enough. Um, and in doing the makeups for those, um, like how often is creative is it a hit or miss process? Like, can one person do 10 creatives for a brand and like one takes off and the other 9 are total flops? Is it more even keeled? Like, and is there a way to find the right way to do this?
Yeah, so there's so many categories. Some people perform really well in the mom, parenting, and beauty, but then they'll post about, yard, like John Deere, and it tanks.
Yeah.
So you have to find the right influencer, number one, and someone that's a good fit organically to your product, like we talked about. And then if you find a really great influencer, typically they're going to want to try the product, kind of test it out, make sure it resonates with their audience before they confirm doing a campaign, or they'll know their audience well enough to know that that's not going to perform for me. So for example, one of our talent that is a huge sales converter posted about a collagen product, which she loves collagen. She talks about it all the time. She personally uses it, and it tanked when she usually sells so much. So now we know, collagen isn't what your audience wants right now.
It wasn't pop and bottle, was it? This is
No, whoa, no, it wasn't.
these guys have collagen infused drinks.
Yeah,
So
it's trending.
very
I
interesting.
mean, everyone is drinking it. It's a huge trend, but for some reason, it didn't resonate with her audience. So that's something that, now we know in the future.
Yeah, you had to learn it by trial and error, and now, yeah,
Right.
you
So
couldn't have predicted this.
sometimes that happens, and sometimes influencer marketing is trial and error. They are people. It's not, a traditional ad buy or anything like that. It's a person. So sometimes they could sell thousands of products with, one swipe up, and the next one in a different category, nothing. So it's really a hit or miss, but across the board, we kind of know who converts, who doesn't, who has an engaged audience, and who just really trusts everything that they say. So I think also going back to the creative, we always look for a creative brief as soon as, before signing off. But sometimes they're so strict with the wording, and it kind of takes all the creativity away from the influencer. So
Yeah.
sometimes, as much as you want to do that as a brand marketer, you kind of have to let them have a little bit of freedom to speak how they would about the product organically, as opposed to hitting every talking point and having 1,000 bullets that they have to meet within 5 slides. So it just comes across really salesy, and people aren't engaged with it. So think about that when you are putting a creative brief together, giving them as much flexibility as possible, while still maintaining, all of your brand guidelines that you want to hit.
Yeah, really good point. All right. When should somebody consider hiring an agency like Lighthouse? When would I, as a merchant, wanna start there? And maybe if you can tell me, what do you start at as a from a your fee standpoint? I'm sure you're also gonna need a required amount of influencer budget on top of that.
Yeah. So with Lighthouse, it's really if you're ready for an agency to put together a full strategy for you, as opposed to just booking a couple influencers. You,
Yeah.
you need a long-term campaign, multiple influencers, amplification we can do on Facebook and Instagram, and really
Yeah.
put together a robust campaign. So once you're at that point where you've worked with some influencers on one-off opportunities, it's getting to be too much for you to manage in-house, we can take that off your plate and really provide you just the approvals and the final beautiful analytics. So, and take everything else off your plate, from contracting, campaign management, influencer negotiation. We have really great relationships with a lot of them out there and can get the best pricing, and kind of make it really turnkey for you. We, in terms of rates, the minimum I would say is like 25,000, and then obviously goes way up from there. We're the agency of record for Airbnb, Keurig Dr. Pepper, and then all the way down to emerging brands. So we really want to work with you from the ground up and start with you from the very beginning and help build you to that large scale company. So
25K for your fee, and we're looking at maybe a 6 to 1 year influencer oriented plan with maybe I'm going to spend another 100, 150, 200,000 on influencer that year. So, and then that probably is going to be part of an omni-channel strategy that includes another million in Facebook ads. I would assume influencer is always going to be a little less than Facebook, Google ads, and those channels. So yeah, you should have I'd say a healthy $1 to $2 to $3 million overall marketing and advertising budget. And you should have dabbled in influencer marketing or had some sort of like organic influencer component where influencers just start talking about you and you want to make it better organized. And then from there, I think an agency like a Lighthouse and Socialite makes sense. And to be clear for everybody listening, Lighthouse will work with all sorts of influencers, not just the Socialite influencers. Yes. So you get the whole thing, not just it's not just an agency for those.
Correct. We have about 10,000 in our network. So
that's a lot to manage. That's a big spreadsheet.
We actually built our own internal technology, which is really cool. It took years to build. It's called Insight. And that's our technology that we have all of our 10,000 influencers in. It creates our analytics. It creates all of our recap reports. It's amazing. So
that's awesome. That's no wonder you guys are so great at influencer marketing and you're crushing it. And no wonder you're the company of record, the agency of record for so many amazing brands. Sarah, thanks so much for joining us. We're at the top of our time, and I have to close it out here for everybody. I think that this was really eye-opening for merchants thinking about getting into influencer marketing, or maybe those that have struggled with it. Just really good tidbits here and there about like things that we should never do again and ways to make it easier for influencers to work with us. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. I'll see you later. With we cut her off, but with that, we are at the top of day one. We've got big plans for you tomorrow. So I hope to see you back here. You will go to the same microsite. You're probably on dnvb.ecommercetech.io right now. And if you enjoyed this session, you can comment way down below with a thumbs up, a thanks, I'll see you tomorrow, whatever it may be for you. We'll be back with sessions on advanced email marketing. We're going to talk about breaking into retail. I'm going to talk about tools that you can choose. There's going to be a panel with venture capitalists that invest in e-commerce brands, and they're going to tell you what they look for in brands and how to get a strong valuation. I'm really looking forward to that one, and so much more for tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you all there. I hope you had a great day today. I really enjoyed myself and all of our guests. I'll see you guys tomorrow.